Today what we're going to do is talk about work and power associated with things that rotate. So if I have, say for instance, a disc and I spin the disc, I'm applying a force and my force is moving across a distance. And so if that's the case, then I'm doing work on it. And we learned back whenever we covered this before that work is equal to the change in kinetic energy. And so if you do work on it, you are increasing the kinetic energy of your spinning object. Now, in this particular case, you would probably do the 1/2 I omega squared kinetic energy instead of the 1/2 mv squared from linear because we're rotating it. So if you're doing work on the object, we should probably know how we're doing work on the object. And so what I'm going to do is, like we've been doing this chapter, we're going to start with a linear version of work. And so we know back when we covered work, we had a formula that said dW equals F dot ds or dx. I'll just call it dx. So we did a dot product. This was how we did this when we did linear motion. When we go to angular or rotational motion, we just replace the variables with what we know their equivalent is. Now, work is still work. So we don't change the variable for work. It's still dW equals. Instead of F, we've been talking about force associated with rotation is kind of like torque. So this is going to be changed to tau, just torque. The dot product with rotation, it's almost always that the direction of the force is going to be the direction of the rotation. So we're going to say this is the cosine of 0, which is just 1. So we kind of ignore the dot product with rotation. And then instead of x is displacement. So for rotation, it's going to be d theta. So the formula that I can use for calculating work is that the dW, d work, equals torque d theta. And generally speaking, you're not going to have to do calculus very often with this formula, even though it kind of looks like it's set up that way. So what I'm going to do is underneath this, if torque is constant, then there's some formulas that are a little bit more user-friendly that come from this formula. So instead of dW, it would just be W for work equals torque. And then instead of d theta, it would just be theta. So one of the ways that you could find this is if you knew what the torque was and you knew how many angles or how many radians it goes through, then you just take the torque times the number of radians. Now keep in mind, though, that this formula and this formula, your theta has to be in radians. Degrees, rotations, revolutions won't work. Another way that you could do this is if torque is constant, we have two formulas for torque. So one of them is I alpha. So another way you could calculate the work done is if you know the shape of your object, you know its angular acceleration, and you know how many radians it goes through, then you could find the torque this way, or the work this way. And then since torque can also be found by doing RF sine of phi, you could also do RF sine of phi times theta, where phi would be the angle between R and F, and then theta is, again, how many radians that it goes through. So in all of these cases, your theta and then your alpha also has to be in radians. So these formulas work instead of this one if torque is constant. But if torque is not constant, then you have to solve it a little bit different. So I'm going to set up another example over here. And let's say that instead of torque being constant, I have that torque is a function of the angle. So let's just use an example where torque is 12 theta squared plus 2 theta cubed. So theta is just like t, time, or x. It's just, this is what's varying is the angle. And if I needed to find the work, then I would start by writing dW equals torque d theta. And I know that this torque varies as the angle varies. And so in order to find the work, I need to take the antiderivative of both sides. So when I take the antiderivative of dW, I just get work. And then I need to take the antiderivative then of 12 theta squared plus 2 theta cubed with respect to theta. So theta is what varies. And it's just a polynomial. So you just do the antiderivative. So add 1 to the exponent, divide by the new exponent. So this would be 12 thirds theta cubed plus 2 fourths theta to the fourth. And then let's say that we're evaluating this from theta equals 0 degrees to theta equals 2 pi radians. And keep in mind 0 degrees and 0 radians are the same. So if I'm going to be evaluating this, then I don't need to add a plus c. So let's evaluate from 0 to 2 pi. So work equals 4. And then when I plug in 0 here, this just becomes 0. So really I'm just evaluating it at 2 pi. So 4 times 2 pi cubed plus 1/2, because that's what 2 fourths is, times 2 pi to the 4th power. So if I were going to put that into my calculator, so 4 times the quantity 2 pi cubed plus 0.5 times the quantity 2 pi to the 4th, what I would get is, just double check that I'm doing this right. Well, I'm actually, you know what, I'm going to do this in pieces. So 4 times 2 pi, when I'm looking at my notes, I see that I'm getting a different answer, so I want to make sure that I'm good. So this is 992.2 plus, and then 0.5 times 2 pi raised to the 4th. This would be 779. So then add those two together, and I get that work is 1771.5 joules. So it's still measured in the same unit that it was measured in before. So this is how you would have to calculate the torque if it varied based on angle. And then the other thing that we talked about back when we talked about work is we also talked about power. So the linear form of the power equation is just P equals dW dt. So the derivative of work with respect to time. That is also equivalent here on the rotation. But then we also said that it was equal to the force dot the velocity. And we get that when we substitute in that work as force dot dx and dx dt is velocity. This equation is actually on the equation sheet. So if you're going to convert this over to angular, power is still a capital P with no vector symbol. It's still the derivative of work with respect to time, but then we can convert the F and the V over to their angular equivalents. And again, the dot product is almost always going to be the cosine of 0 degrees, so I'm just going to ignore the dot. So instead of F, we have torque, and instead of V, we have the W or omega. And this is, again, one of those things that has to be in radians. So I can find the power by taking the torque in Newton meters times the speed that it's rotating in radians per second, and that's another way that I can find it. And I wish I could just remember what the unit for power is. What is that unit? Oh yeah, power is measured in watts, just like it was before. So we're going to finish with this example here. So it says an automobile crankshaft delivers energy from the engine to the axle at a rate of 100 HP, stands for horsepower. And back when we did this with linear motion, we talked about a conversion between power, horsepower, and watts. And I'm not expecting you to memorize this. So in 1 horsepower, there's 746 watts. You might recall that from back when we did the staircase lab. So I'm going to quick convert this over to the metric. So 74600 watts is how much power this engine delivers to the axle, then that in turn spins the wheels. And it says that it's rotating at a speed of 1800 revolutions per minute, so that's your omega. And I know that this power equation is going to require that I change this to radians per second. So in 1 rev, there's 2 pi radians, and in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. So let's take 1800 times 2 times pi divided by 60. And I get 188.495 radians per second is my speed of the crankshaft spinning. And then what I want to know is how much torque is delivered by the engine or the crankshaft to the tires. So as I look up above, the power equation that's going to help me the most is power is torque times the angular speed. And so plugging in 74600 equals torque times 188.495, I get that it delivers a torque of 395.7 Newton meters. Sometimes with engines and cars, you hear about torque. They talk about the torque of the engine. What they're talking about is the way that it rotates the axle, then it rotates the wheels. Up here, I could also, like on a problem like this example up above, if, say, we said did this in 2 seconds, then the power would just be the work over the time, which would be 1770 or 1771.5 over 2, and then I end up getting 885.75 watts. So power could be done either the way that we did it with linear motion, or it could be done this new way with torque and angular speed. So there's a worksheet that you're going to do that's related to this.